is Hannah and welcome to my channel. This is my mother, Beverly. You can call her Bev. Welcome.
Yes, hello.
If you have been with my channel for a while, you know my mom. My husband and I lived here for a year and a half a couple years ago, and so you might know her because she was always in my videos. It's kind of interesting. You guys know I've been vegan, plant-based for about 14 years, and now all of a sudden, like, everyone in my family is plant-based. My father, my mother, you guys eat completely plant-based now, and now every time when I come over, I can literally go into the fridge blind and grab something and I know it will be vegan. And I thought it would be cool to sort of talk about that story, especially because our ebook is out now. You can link below. Nope. I will link it, you will click it. We wrote an ebook together. My mom is a fantastic cook, and so we compiled some of our favorite recipes and came up with some new ones that are totally plant-based and delicious and accessible and easy to make. And the end, you should buy it. So today I thought we would tell the story of how my mom eats fully plant-based now, mostly because she is very passionate about it. And I never expected this. Like, all the things that I have known for years, she's texting me about and emailing me about. I'm like, Mom, I know, I watch those same videos, like I listen to those same doctors, and she's taking that on and like super into it, and which is amazing, especially, you know, at your age. Like, with your, because you're so old. Do you mind sharing your age?
No, I just turned 68.
Doesn't she look amazing? Yeah, so you have a lot of friends who have chronic illnesses and are sort of like dealing with things, and so now you feel really empowered with the information.
Yes, I'm actually seriously considering getting certified as a plant-based nutritionist.
So her story is a little intertwined with my story. My sister's a year older than me, and 14 years ago when I was 18, she was 19, we went plant-based, and we did it for various reasons. And at the time, I would say that my parents sort of tolerated our diet, and you obviously accepted us. Not saying like you didn't like us, it was just more like, okay, you guys are doing this now, and you always let us do our own thing.
Yeah, I kind of thought, oh, well, that's kind of a pain to have to cook for you, but I guess I can figure it out.
Especially because food was such a big part of our childhood, and I know it is for many people. You know, a home-cooked meal from your mom is really special.
Right.
Yeah, so then Ellen and I come home and we're like, we're plant-based, vegan now, and you're like, oh, okay. And then my dad would roll his eyes because my dad was really into steak, and wine and steakhouses and fancy, decadent sort of meals.
Right.
Flash forward to now when they're both fully embraced the plant-based lifestyle, like, what happened?
Obviously, for your dad, it was getting healthy. He was on a number of prescriptions and had side effects from that. As we get older, it all begins to change. So
definitely. There's more of an urgency to take care of your health as you get older, especially, you know, as children. Like, we want to see you guys live long, healthy lives, be there for your grandchildren. And so for Dad, he had specific health concerns, which I do want to share in a future video, but I hope you understand, like, health stuff is, you know, a little private, and so whenever my dad's ready to share that side. Yeah. So for you, it was, you were sort of watching my dad try out the plant-based thing.
Right, and since I've always cooked, it was a challenge. Oh, I have to cook differently. I don't use chicken broth now, I use veggie broth, you know, things like that. But I see so many friends with illnesses at my age and, you know, in that age range. It's amazing. I think every one of my friends has something wrong, and it's kind of assumed, you know, oh, well, now I don't hear very well, or, you know, I'm a little creaky, I have arthritis, or whatever.
Sometimes I get a little tired of people in the older generation talking to me like, just wait till you get to my age, and they're pulling out their pack of prescription pills, and I'm just thinking like, well, doesn't have to be that way, you know? So my dad was trying to eat plant-based and failing. He just didn't really know, and the key for him was eating enough, because he's sort of a spindly man, and he's tall and lanky, and he really needs to eat enough. He has
a wiry body type.
That's where Ellen gets her body type, for sure. And so he needs to eat enough to keep weight on. Anyway, Eric and I moved in to save money to buy a house, and I was just in the kitchen, like, making oatmeal, and he would look at my food and be like, you eat that much, and obviously I don't need to eat as much as he does. He's a much taller man. And I said, yeah, Dad, you need to eat a lot. You need to eat as much as you can. Plant foods are good for you. You can't, it's really hard to overeat plant foods. So that's when it clicked for my dad, and then it just became super easy for him. But then you still were serving animal foods to guests, eating animal foods yourself. So I'm really curious, because I never really heard the whole story, to be honest. This is just my mom's thing. I wasn't a part of that at all. What was that switch for you?
Well, I don't think there was a particular event. I just sort of evolved.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, because we'd had quite a few years where guests came over for dinner, and you have to understand, we entertained often. The thought, we had always, like, Gary took great pride in his steaks that he barbecued. And, you know, I used to think, oh my gosh, all those steaks.
I know.
So I was never a huge meat eater, but I would have a little piece, you know. But the idea then of inviting people over for dinner for plant-based, that was, it took me a long time to get here.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's so funny. A few weeks ago, a friend at church said to me, I really miss coming to your house for dinner. I'm even willing to eat all vegetables. I said, well, plants.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Right.
It's not like you just have vegetables.
It's broccoli, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a hurdle, and just like bringing it back to our ebook, there's so many delicious recipes that will satisfy anybody, it doesn't have to be weird vegan food that people are like sniffing on their fork, you know? It can be really accessible to everyone.
Yeah, and easy recipes. So during the lockdown, and I'm still working because I work in essential business, but you can't have clients in. There's a lot of downtime, and so I'm sitting there and I answer the phone, I take care of clients' problems. I also watch some YouTubes, and so I started absorbing this information, listening to doctors who have been plant-based for decades, because
so like Dr. Clapper,
I love Michael Clapper. I mean, he's so awesome and kind and gentle.
Dr. Greger. Yes. She really likes the Rich Roll podcast, which I was a huge listener of the Rich Roll podcast years ago, and now you're obsessed.
Well, not all of his guests.
No, yeah.
But definitely
the doctors.
Yeah. It really opened my mind to what these doctors have gone through, and finding out that they have known for decades that this is the diet that keeps you free of disease.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Listen to so many. Yeah. I've also heard some doctors talk about vegans that don't eat properly. They eat junk food, vegan junk food, and how that is wrong. And so that,
well, not wrong. Like you eat whatever you want, you know. It's just, it doesn't support.
But it's not going to make you healthy. We have certain ideas in our culture that have been ingrained, and one is that carbs are bad, right?
Yeah.
And they are not. Complex carbohydrates, that's potatoes, rice, beans, corn, lentils, how they are nutrient dense but low in calories. So they fill you up and they give you lots of nutrients, but they don't make you fat. You know, it's pretty amazing. People came to know that we are plant-based, and so I remember a couple months ago, two couples that we are particularly close to, and I said, you guys want to come over for dinner? You know, even though we'd all been haven't been together for so long because of the lockdown. And I said, but it will be plant-based. And sure, and they absolutely loved it. And it was very simple. I think I made mashed potatoes and some mushrooms and a big salad and some asparagus, something like that. Most of my friends are saying, well, I'm trying to eat more vegetables, but I still eat my meat.
And that's kind of where you were, though. So
it's
sort of help you understand, like, I get where they're at, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, I think a lot of people think, oh, vegans are just ethical vegans. No, I mean, I understand the ethical vegan side, but I think when people learn to eat right, that problem will go away.
Totally.
Yeah. So the fact that Americans eat so much meat, it's just,
and dairy.
Yeah, it makes that whole industry so corrupt. And so I have a friend who really has a lot of GI issues, and she would often, in our get together or whenever I talked to her, she'd talk about all these issues with her stomach, and they thought it was this and they think it was that, I suggested maybe you should go plant-based, give it a try. Well, then I sent her a YouTube of Dr. Barnard talking about Alzheimer's and how plant-based eating protects against Alzheimer's. And she said, oh, we're going plant-based. So she found Dr. Barnard had a 21-day jump start, but she only lasted a week on it. She says she kept eating bread because that was easy. She doesn't like to cook, so that's part of the problem. She doesn't like to cook.
Yeah. So you kind of have to cook. Like,
yeah.
If you want to eat healthy, plant-based or not plant-based, you have to cook. Like that's you can't really get around that. As we were compiling our ebook recipes and making recipes every single day, I really had your friends in mind, thinking like, okay, I want these recipes to be so easy to understand for someone who is not initiated into the plant-based lifestyle, and explain the ingredients. Like if there's a couple funny ingredients like nutritional yeast, like this is what nutritional yeast is, but everything else is pretty basic, you know. And
see, I've listened to quite a few videos also about the microbiome and what happens in the your gut. Actually, the bacteria that comes from meat and dairy and all that, the animal products, are the bad bacteria. It adds all these problems in your gut, but your immunity is 70% from your gut, and it's all from plants. It's the variety of plants. You need lots and lots of plants.
Do you see how passionate she is, guys? She can just get on. She'll literally call me in the middle of the day. I'm in the middle of work. She's like, hey, I just want to talk to you about gut health or something, or like, I want to talk to you about this, or she'd be like, I just had another conversation with a friend, someone who wants to go plant-based.
Yeah, that idea of helping people is what makes me think about getting certified as a plant-based nutritionist. I love the idea of being helping people. I know people have to want help.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't want to change. I do believe you can't get well if you can't admit you're sick.
I just want to address something that I know might feel like implied, or one might infer from this video title, thumbnail, or conversation, is that I did not make my mom vegan. And this is a really important thing to me that I've made videos about in the past. I don't think it's our responsibility to make someone else do what you believe is right, or even if you're just looking out for them, right? Like, I would love my mom to eat plant-based because I want her to live a long, healthy life, and whatever, she has illnesses, not you, but someone else, like she has illnesses, I want her to heal. The intention is so good, but it's just not, it just doesn't work that way. Like, like you said, it really has to be the person's desire. I think the best thing you can do, if you are plant-based yourself and you feel just as passionate as my mother does about this lifestyle, and you have people in your life that you would love for them to see the light in a way, just be a good example and make dang delicious food that they can't say no to. You know what I mean?
And every now and then you'll find someone that says, tell me about it.
Yes.
I want to know more.
Yes.
And this has happened to me. So.
And even when people ask me that, I still am just like, I don't put a lot of energy into it personally, because I know what has happened to me so many times in the past. I'll put all this energy, yes, I'll help you, and then they still don't take the reins. It has to be them. Like, they have to make the change. Just like with any change in your life, you just can't, no matter how close the person is to you, even if they're your partner or your sister or someone in your family, like, it has to be their decision. Yeah.
And most people don't do it cold turkey. Most people do it gradually.
You mean cold tofurkey?
Oh,
I'm just kidding. That's all for us. Honestly, my mom wants to say more, but I keep cutting her off because the video is getting too long. That's how much she cares about this. And yeah, it's those amazing vegan doctors. So maybe this video should be dedicated to people like Dr. Clapper, Dr. Greger, Dr. B. Now my mom is going to read my Squarespace ad for this video. Hit it, Mom.
Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's videos. Squarespace is a website building platform that provides award-winning, beautiful design templates and unparalleled customer service. They make it incredibly simple to create your very own website that looks like it was designed by a professional. Squarespace has easy on-the-go blogging tools, a simple back-end process to create a shop if you're selling something, and 24/7 customer support for when you run into a snag you're not sure how to fix. Go to squarespace.com/Hannah McNeely for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase.
Thanks,
How'd
Mom.
I do?
Perfect. And this, yeah.